On a listening tour of the Midwest in about 10 days. He will talk to folks struggling in this economy in one of the hardest hit areas of the nation. That is the Midwest. What do the governors in America's heartland have to say about that? We're joined by the Ohio Governor, John Kasich, with me now out of Columbus. And, sir, thank you for coming back here and appreciate your time. I think that one of the most, being a Buckeye myself, being one of the most underreported stories in this nation is how life has changed fundamentally for so many in states like Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania. You might take that to West Virginia, parts of Kentucky, and the state of Missouri as well. Where do you go in the Midwest today to find good news?
Well, Bill, we have some good news here. You know, when I became governor, we had an $8 billion budget deficit, and working with my colleagues in the legislature, we eliminated our $8 billion budget deficit. And here's what's interesting. While we just saw Minnesota have its credit rating downgraded, Ohio's credit outlook actually improved. S&P moved us from on watch to stable, which means that outside forces are beginning to say that Ohio's getting its act together. We eliminated our structural deficit, and we also cut taxes at the same time and eliminated an $8 billion deficit. At the same time, we have a cabinet that's very business-friendly. I mean, we will do regulation, but we will not do regulation in a careless way that stomps out jobs. And at the same time, we've privatized our development department, and we are now moving at the speed of business. I mean, just yesterday it was announced that Wendy's is leaving Georgia, their corporate headquarters, to come back to its home in Columbus, Ohio. We are starting to see some good things happening in the eastern part of the state.
Because I'm trying to apply a lot of this, too. You know, it's anecdotal, but I think it's significant. Why is Wendy's coming back to Columbus, Ohio?
Because we met with them early on. We told them what we were all about as an administration. We offered them some incentives that ultimately returned positive for the taxpayers of the state, which helped them to lower their costs. But we were engaged with them, and we told them we could provide stability. Bill, here's the problem we have. The problem we have is you've got all these regulations sitting out there, and some that have not yet been enacted, and it is paralyzing business. What we see in Ohio is this. We see some very good things, but we also see some very slow things happening in the economy. If you talk to people who are in the banking business, who make loans to people, they're very concerned about the uncertainty out there. And when people are concerned, they sit on the sideline. Think about it. Apple's got more cash on hand than the U.S. government. I mean, the fact of the matter is businesses are sitting on the sideline because of the possibility of higher taxes, more uncertainty, and more regulations. We have to deal with this. When we're dealing with it in Ohio, we're doing better. When they papered over their problems in Minnesota, they got hammered. I mean, it's not complicated.
Now you're painting a kind of a rosy scenario for your state. I know you've gotten great reviews since you've taken office. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, local newspapers in Ohio, they've applauded what you've done. But unemployment is still high. You're at 8.8%, which is slightly lower than the national average. Is that something to praise or to sing about, Governor?
No. Hey, Bill, Ohio lost more jobs in the last 10 years than every state in America except for Michigan, which has the auto problem, and California, which is filled with a bunch of wackadoodles. We were third in losing jobs. We were in the ditch. Now, I'm not telling you we're out running a marathon here in Ohio. I'm just saying that I believe that balancing our budget, improving our credit, being business-friendly is helping. But you don't dig out of a mess like this overnight. The question, though, it's sort of like with the president. If he would just take a look at what he's been doing, which we were doing in Ohio, overregulating, overtaxing, it hurts you. If you can deregulate and you can lower the cost of doing business, it helps you. It's not that complicated, but we got a long road back, Bill.
Yeah, I understand that. Indeed, you do. Do you think this president is keen on that he would make a pivot like that and go in the direction you describe?
Probably not.
And then?
Probably not. I mean, that's why people are nervous about the long term. It would be fantastic if he would begin to say that he's going to freeze some of these regulations and take another look at it. It would be fantastic if he would say we would not raise taxes on investment on capital gains or dividends. We're not going to raise the marginal rates in this country. If he would say that And look, that's part of what he did when he extended the Bush tax cuts. And what happened? He got positive. He got positive news, positive response. They just haven't done enough of it, Bill, and it's hard for them because they have a different philosophy. They think government is the answer, not the problem. I don't think government's always a problem, but too much of it is not good.
Yeah. We're going to hear from him in 20 minutes, and we'll see the address then live. Governor, as always, thank you. John Kasich, the governor in Columbus, Ohio. You got your work cut out for you, just like Michigan.
We do.
And Indiana and Illinois and Wisconsin, and all this will be seen by the president firsthand. Thank you,
But we're
Governor.
heading up, Bill. We're finally heading up.
I like the optimism. I hope you're right. Thank you, Governor. Alice.